So let's jump into kind of on your guys' your handout. I want to talk about trust. This is an article I read. It was in Riz Media a couple of years ago, and talked about trust as a new real estate currency. And it's an interesting article, but one of the things I want to read this first, a quote. If I can catch 2x.
Right arrow.
Or early. That's right. This one. Okay. Trust is like the air we breathe. When it's present, nobody really notices. When it's absent, everyone notices. Okay? So I want to kind of throw out there, we're going to talk a little about, first of all, let's talk about political atmosphere right now, what's happening. Has the word trust been come up in our political atmosphere lately?
Really? Once in a while.
Once in a while.
In a good connotation, a bad connotation is, so if we were polling the general public, would trust be an important topic or important issue?
Yes.
You think trust is an important thing? So if someone's not trustworthy, they probably shouldn't have 50% of the votes. Okay. So one of the things is if you ask somebody, is trust important to you? The majority of individuals say, yeah, I feel that if I can't trust someone, then yeah, I'm probably not going to do business with them, or they're not going to be. What? Hello, sir. So, all right. So, we want to kind of go through some of these stats, some of the things that were done to. Okay. For some reason the mouse is okay. Okay. All right. During the Great Recession, what happened to our industry? What happened to our industry during the Great Recession? Image of real estate. It dropped quite a bit. Why is that? What caused? Okay, if you were to ask anybody, what happened to the downfall, like Great Recession? And I'm just going to call it the Great Recession. That's kind of like the name that some people give it. What would be the case of that? What would people say? What happened?
They lost half of their money.
Lost half their money. What was the catalyst? What was the causing effect on it?
The catalyst was real estate.
Real estate.
That people had overbought, the market was too high, there was a big boom or a big bubble.
So people are saying that the catalyst of the first thing was real estate. Real estate was the cause of it. Loans. So what happened with us as real estate agents to our
They lost confidence in us.
lost confidence? Okay, so Barb's saying they lost confidence in us. Do you feel that that's still the case? Do you feel like we've got more confidence back? What do you guys think?
We've reclaimed some, but there's still, I think we're not quite as used car salesmen anymore, but there still is a fair amount of distress, especially when you first meet someone.
Okay, so there's still a certain amount of distrust when they first meet you. One of the phrases I mentioned this that I hate hearing is when I'm talking with someone and they say, well, let me be honest with you. Why is that? Why is that just, because the thing is, I used to say that. Like my wife called me on it a couple years ago. She's like, when you say that, people think that you're not being honest with them every other time you talk. This is like, hey, I'm going to take away the crap and just let me be honest with you for a second, because every other time I'm lying to you. But that's one of the things, and we hear that a lot. And another thing is, I've heard a lot of times from agents or other brokers, I'm calling them up because there's an issue. There's an issue with the property, and it got to me, and I've got to make some calls. And the thing I hear is, you know what, just trust me, we'll get this closed. And my response after I have to grit my teeth a little bit is, you've given me no reason to trust you. We're late on closing. We've changed the loan 3 different times. You've given me no reason to trust you. So no, I'm not going to trust you on that. Kathy, were you going to say something, mention something or no?
In the news article I just read from a newsletter, I guess said that it got down to about 62% or something. I mean, there were that many, 40-something% were doing FISBO, and now it's back to only, we're up to 89%. They're going to agents again, so I don't know, that was just out of this newsletter. But
Yeah.
I'd love to put out, because that's a statistic from one of the things, but that means we're getting back there.
And that's the thing is 42% of individuals decided that I could sell my house myself. And now it's back to 89%, right? Okay.
So maybe all those forms aren't a bad thing.
All the forms aren't a bad thing. So one of the things, we can no longer be kind of transaction coordinators and just kind of, we have to be real estate advocates and credible advisors. We don't need to sell real estate anymore. We need to have the ability to be a trusted advisor for these individuals. So I wanted to kind of, there's been a lot of studies done about trust in the economics of a company. So trust among the consumer population, the loss of trust and loss of confidence are big deterrents to economic growth. Can you think of any companies that have seen kind of economic deterrent or like a loss in market share because of a trust factor? Can you think of any companies off the top of your head? I'm going to start off throwing one out there, Countrywide. Do you remember Countrywide? Remember how many loans they did and how many, and what happened to them? Where are they at? They got absorbed by Bank of America and they're no longer around. What else? What other companies that you know of that have lost a large market share because of a trust issue?
Chipotle.
What was that?
Chipotle.
Chipotle. I wrote that down on here. Chipotle. Chipotle was the great darling of the food industry. And then all of a sudden, we had E. coli and other issues. And so there's losing a large market share. And the majority, it's not because the food's different. It's because of the trust issue. Anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
How about that Albertson? The people who bought the Albertson.
Oh, Hagen's?
Higgins.
You even forgot. It was like 3 months ago. So Hagen's Markets. Those, I mean, we had like 4 or 5 around here, right? I mean, just within a couple miles of us. And now Albertsons kind of stepped back in and took over those ones, and a couple other individuals did. But there's some of those that are still closed up. So Hagen's came in, I think it was like 6 months, and then they were out the door, right? It wasn't very long, and it was because of trust. What else?
Samsung.
Herbalife.
Herbalife?
Yeah.
Never heard of them. Are they?
These two, yeah.
Are they like a? What
Like
is
a
that?
vitamin, they're a company that's like a Ponzi scheme.
Oh, okay.
Multi-market.
Samsung.
And we have this going out to just realtors, right?
Yep, just
Okay,
realtors.
good. So we're passing out to just realtors. So it's not getting out to the general population. Thanks, Scott. Okay, so, all right. So we know there's a couple companies that, you know, and as we could discuss it longer and longer about companies, and we could talk about the failures of those companies, and a lot of times it falls back to trust issues on that. Okay, let's talk about some of those reports that are done. So on your thing, 79%, if you want to write this down, 79% refuse to buy products and services from companies they distrust. So 79% of the people that they interviewed, 79% refuse to use that, saying, I will not use this product because I don't trust this company. The thing that surprises me is that 21% of people said, yeah, I'll still use them. They screwed me over, they stole my money, but it's such a good deal, I'm still going to use them. What? Why? Why? I mean, the 79%, I can understand that, yeah, we're not going to use them anymore, but why do you think a company has betrayed a customer or consumer, and that consumer 21% of the time will still come back? Why is that? Why do you think? Yeah, Patty.
Nowhere else to go, or they don't know what else to do, they're used to it.
There's nowhere else to go. It's the only place out there. It's the only thing they have available to them. What else? Why else would 21% of the people go back?
Price.
Price. Price is cheap. I know that I'm going to have stomach problems and vomit after I eat this, but hey, it's only $2 for a pound of meat. Is that good? I don't know. I don't shop for meat. Is that a good deal? I have no idea. Okay, so, but 79% refuse to use something. You betray my trust once, I'm done. I'll never use it again. Okay? So let's go to the next one. 74% criticize a distrusted company with a colleague or friend or colleague. Has this ever happened? Have you ever gone to a restaurant or bought something and felt like, you know what, this was misadvertised, it wasn't correct, and I'm just going to go and just let everybody know? Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone on and blasted a company or a product because of loss of trust? Kat, you're shaking your head. What company without saying what?
Yelp. Just Yelp. Look at reviews on Yelp.
So you say you look at reviews on Yelp?
Oh, I've put reviews on Yelp.
Oh, okay. So reviews. So people have gone on, and that's the one thing. Yelp, Zillow. Have you guys ever gone on Zillow and if you just Google bad Zillow reviews, it's fantastic. It's just a great read. about how many people have been just messed over, how they were messed over by their agent. But yeah, reviews, Facebook. A friend of my wife's had bought something, and she went on there and said, "Oh, this was the worst, and this is just horrible," and and she tagged on Instagram, and then all of a sudden, what happened? Trail of other people start jumping in saying, "Oh yeah, I bought that," or "Oh yeah, I did that," or "Oh I bought," and that negativity started spreading because the fact is from that one incident, that one consumer, there's a line of people that were also expressing the same distrust, or the same agitation, or the same dislike as that individual was. And so we'll see individuals criticize, but us as agents, a lot of times we have to ask for a good review. We might do a great job. Have you guys got a great review from somebody without being asked? They just kind of like gave you a great review or sent you a nice card that had a great review? Okay, good. And that happens. When you do a good job, people say, you know what, let me just give them a great review, or let me do something like that. But a lot of times, especially on Zillow or Trulia, we have to email them the link and say, hey, if you can write me a good review, because there's a lot more people. When I renewed the area, I was having an issue with my car. I had to go to a mechanic. I didn't know anybody, so I went to Yelp, and I put in mechanic, 92128, and I looked at who had the best stars and who had the best this, and I read through them and found out, okay, let me go to this individual right here. And the reason I did was because of reviews. So more and more individuals are looking at your reviews, because listing presentations, you'll go there and say, I'm great, I'm wonderful, I've done these things, and here's what I can offer for you. After you leave, they'll go and Google you and check out what you've done. They'll find reviews of you on Zillow. Because if you don't have any reviews on Zillow, what does that say?
Nothing good.
What was that?
Nothing good.
Nothing good. So if you don't have any Zillow reviews, I don't want to say it's as bad, but it's almost as bad as having a negative review. Because it's pretty much saying, well, you've worked with all these people, and you said you're so great, but obviously no one likes you. So there's got to be a problem with that, because you're not showing up on Zillow. So look at that, 74% criticize distrusted company with colleagues. Okay, 74%. Okay, so let's go to the next one. 58% will pay more or a premium to buy from a trusted company. What is something that you would pay typically a premium for because you trust that brand? What's something that you would pay extra for? Was that? A computer?
She said ketchup.
I thought you said ketchup.
Ketchup? Who said that? Shut her door. Shut her door.
Services like contractor services.
Like contractor services. I want to go back to Earl's Computers. You guys know how much it costs for a MacBook?
2,000.
Like $2,000. You can go get a Dell for like $450, or you get a MacBook for $2,000. Why? Because they built this brand of being trusted. Services. If you have a good individual that has a good handyman or good contractor, you're going to recommend those services. What else? What else would you pay a premium for?
Whole Foods. Whole Foods.
Whole Foods, Mike's lung cancer. No, I'm sorry. What was it? A good cigar? Mike will take the risk for a good cigar. And Cuba's opened up, so those are coming over the border soon. So, with that. All right, one more. What else? What else would you pay?
Nordstrom, because you know they'll take it back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you think? Take a price, so you're paying not just for the product, but on the service you get with it.
Yeah, Nordstrom. I mean, an individual once told me that Nordstrom will take back clothes that they didn't even sell to you. They'll take back clothes, and I'm like, I don't believe that. He's like, no, look it up. If you bought them somewhere else and you showed up and said, hey, I bought these shoes and I'm not happy with them, they'll take them back. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. It's like, well, that's what they do, but it's customer service. They're not going to sit there and fight you on it saying, well, you wore these shoes for, I see you bought them a year ago. Yeah, the sole's going to wear out. But yeah, we'll take them back. Because that's the thing. Nordstrom's customer service. Okay, so, next one. 76% recommended trusted brands to other. I thought that number was kind of low. 76, 3/4 of individuals would recommend a trusted brand to others. And I'm thinking about that extra 24%. Why aren't they recommending people? Why aren't they if you have a great experience, why aren't you being recommended? Patty.
Price.
Price. Maybe price. What else?
It might have been some little thing. I mean, you know, they really trusted you and you did well, but and somebody went a little bit off, so they have a little bit in their mind of,
So maybe like a majority transaction went well, but at the very end, the key showed up a day late, and they were just kind of a little miffed about that, so maybe they wouldn't. Mike?
You know, it seems to me lately, the last few years, in all the business that I do, at the end of it, they all beg you, hey, give me a good review, give me a 10, you know, they Verizon
Oh,
and
yeah.
so forth.
Yeah.
They all beg you to do that, so they leave them the review.
And that's the thing, is this is going back to that last slide we talked about with reviews. Giving a good review. And that's the thing, is that, but like I mentioned, 76%. So not all your clients, not everyone's going to write you a great raving review. You might have to ask 24% of them, I'd like you to, if you could, if you have some time, I'd love for you to go on Zillow, and here's a link to my Zillow profile. And if you'd like, I'd appreciate if you write a good review. That'd be great. A lot of my business is based on reviews and referrals. Because we're seeing more and more people go online and check you out before they even meet with you. Before they even talk with you, they're going online. And I've heard a lot of cases, you guys are coming to my office after listening presentations saying, oh yeah, before I even showed up, they knew about my history, they knew about my production, they knew about what I was doing. It wasn't what you told them, it was what the internet told them. And the internet does not like us. Yes?
It's always good to ask for that review after you remove the contingencies. Everybody's happy, happy, happy.
After you remove the contingencies,
And then,
after you agree to pay their closing costs, it's always good to ask for a review.
just contingencies.
Just the contingencies.
Yeah.
So that's a good time to.
And the other thing that I noticed though on Zillow is that sometimes people don't like to know or have their email address
Mhm.
shown. So it's too bad that Zillow couldn't go ahead and verify that but not publish the email
Email address
address.
of that individual.
No, sorry.
And that's one of the things, is that it is kind of difficult. Just so you guys know, it is a little more difficult to add a review on Zillow. You have to go in, sign up, create a username, create an account, get their information on there, and then they can write a review. So it is a little more difficult. But you guys remember, I don't know if you remember this because it was a very short time, CAR had a website for reviewing agents. They did a beta test, and I believe it was in Northern California. I don't know if it ever made it down here to Southern California, but it was a beta test of a website that was kind of run by CAR, and it was a way for consumers to go in and rate the agents, what they did, how they did it. How long do you think that lasted?
A month.
It lasted a month. 1 month. What do you think happened? All these agents were going on there going, well, that's not what happened. That's I want that taken off. I don't want anyone to know that I've done that. I don't want anyone to see that I did that. I don't want that. So they go on and they ask for that to be removed. And so what happens? You had these agents wanting to control. And that's the thing, is the agent said, we'll allow you to do that, but you have to allow me control to go on there and delete negative reviews. What purpose does that serve? Absolutely none. Absolutely none. And one of the things is interesting. If you go on Zillow, when you have a chance and you're not doing anything except playing solitaire Tetris, go on to Zillow and type in an address and type in a zip code, find an agent, and look. One of the things you'll see is the majority of those reviews are 5-star reviews, because those are agents that are requesting those reviews. So one of the things that I thought was, well, Zillow is so great with reviews, why isn't there more negative reviews on there? Well, agents can actually go on and contest those reviews and actually have them removed. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people feel that, well, Zillow puts what's the truth out there, but that's not necessarily true. It does take a process, but you can actually have those negative reviews removed off of your site. Okay. So CR had that removed, that rating system removed, and the reason why is because too many agents. It wasn't consumers, is agents didn't like seeing bad news about them, which is normal. It's normal. Nobody wants to hear bad things about you on there. But one of the things is on CAR, if you ever go onto CAR, and I believe it's under legal, and you can go on disciplinary action, you can see individuals. I don't know if you guys have ever done this. You can see individuals that have had a grievance against them, or went to arbitration mediation and lost, or they had a fine placed on them. And it's not only what they did, it's their picture, their name, their brokerage, and then it has a whole list or a whole reason for what happened to them. And a lot of consumers don't know about it. And there was a big push on people saying, well, why do we need pictures on there? Why do we need to have somebody's picture? And the thing is that people weren't supplying pictures. So I don't know how they did it, but I probably went online and found pictures of this individual and put them on there. But CAR, a lot of the directors said, no, if you're going to have a disciplinary action for something you did and that you did it knowingly, we're going to make sure and blast you. 76% of people recommend trusted brands to others. Are you that trusted brand that is going to be recommended? Are you part of that 24% that figures, oh, they're just doing their job? That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to get me into a house. I'm not going to give a good review for someone, I'm not going to pay an extra tip for somebody who was doing their job. I'll pay a tip, but I'm not going to give a great tip. Yeah, I'm cheap, but one of the things right here is if you don't do a stellar job, do not expect to have a stellar review. So let's go to the next one. Okay, we're going to chat right now. This is the second section on their building relation to trust. So these are trustworthiness is crucial in our industry. There's four basic pillars of trust. This individual in Ryan's article, G. Dunson, said there's 4 pillars to that. So let's talk about the number 1 pillar is focus on the client, not on the commission. I can say, why is that important? You guys all have these reasons for why it's important, but I'm going to tell you right now, I get a lot of individuals that a deal's going south, and I hear people come in and say, well, I worked so hard on that, I'm just going to lose this commission if this doesn't close. Yeah, it happens. You might work, you might have done nothing wrong, you might have gone through the whole process, but you're not going to get the commission. Does that mean that you need to push that client into buying or selling that property if there's issues? Because you're not going to get a commission. If you're shaking your head up and down, you're wrong. You should be going like this. There's going to be times in your life and in your career when you are going to sit there and put the client's needs first, and the deal might fall through, or the person might not get that. But in that client's eyes, they're going to sit there and say, you know what? Because I've had it where people have come to me saying, I've gone, we're in escrow on a new house, and I said, well, there's higher metal roofs, there's higher taxes, here's the HOA, here's some of the things you're going to do. I don't know if this is the best escrow for you because you're going to be house poor. You're going to be in this property and not be able to afford anything because it's overly priced. And those people realize, well, yeah, it's probably not the best interest for me, so yeah, I'm going to either back out or cancel this escrow or whatever. I didn't get a commission on that, but what I did get was referrals in the future because these individuals, say, well, Kevin gave up a $15,000 commission knowing that this probably wasn't the best situation for me. So focusing on the clients and not the commission, you might not close that deal, but by showing that you're putting those clients first, they will be those individuals that will be your raving fans and that will go to bat for you and that will ask for a stack of your business cards and pass them out to everyone they know because you actually looked out for them over your bottom line. Okay, seek collaboration. This is, when I mention this, when I talk about collaboration, I'm talking about you working with the other agent. I'm not saying you're working, against the clients, but I'm saying that when you're working together, what are we? I don't want to say we're seeing it more and more, but it's interesting when I get people coming to my office saying, "Hey, I got a great deal, or I had a great transaction with another agent." That shouldn't be a surprise. Most of our transactions should be good transactions with other professionals. But more and more, I'm seeing you guys come into my offices and they're going, I have the worst. I have this person that is this, or is that, or is this. And then it's like you won the lottery when you actually have a competent agent on the other side. So seek collaboration. When you're working with somebody, remember, you're watching out for your clients, but work together with that other agent. Work together with them to get the disclosures in on time, to make sure that we're all working together toward the same end goal. Okay. Focus on long-term goals, not short-term victims. What does that mean, short-term victims? What do you think that means when you read that? Focus on long-term goals, not short-term victims. Something real.
Don't put them in a house that they shouldn't have got into just because that gave you
once you put somebody into a property saying, well, they qualify for it and they really want the house, I'm going to push them and get them into it, not knowing that they're going to have. And the worst phone call, I'll let you know. I mean, in my life, this happened with a great couple, first-time home buyers. They bought a house. They knew about the Melrose. They knew about the HOA. It was not put on the loan properly. The tax rate, which was 1.8, was put on there as 1.2. So what happened after after a year and a half, the assessor kind of reassessed that payment, and it was an extra $700 a month. So after 2 years, this couple called me up and said, "Hey Kevin, we need to short sell our house. We haven't been able to make the payments. We were fine, and then all of a sudden they reassessed it, and it was $700 more a month, and we just couldn't make ends meet, and so we're going to need to short sell our house." That's a short-term victim, and I felt horrible because I felt like I should have done more to protect them. But I also they chose a lender that was unscrupulous on the other side, and when I asked the lender, just want to make sure all the stuff's correct on there. We've got everything. Oh yeah, everything's good. Got the Melrose rule there. Yeah, it's all part of the loan. And I didn't do. And the thing was, my issue was, I trust this individual because they told me, oh yeah, everything's all good. And these individuals had to sell their house, a short sell, and move out and go live with their parents for a couple months before they can find something else. That's a short-term victim. When we either knowingly or not knowingly don't do our job just to get a deal closed. Just to get a deal closed and get a commission. Okay, so let's jump to the next one. Be transparent. In our line of work, is that easy? Is it easy to be transparent? I think so. I mean, I'm trying to think of reasons when you want to, you're not going to want to disclose to everyone the financials of your client and all these things. It's not pertinent to that. But being transparent, the thing is, if a deal is going south, what should you do? As a buyer's agent, you get a call from the lender and they say, hey, we can't get this loan together. What should you do? What should your next phone call be? To the buyer saying, hey, I talked with the lender. And then your phone call after that, okay? Jim? Oh, call Jim. Call Jim and say, hey, get it taken care of. Get it done. But also, calling up the other agent. And that's a tough call, and that's because you are calling up an agent who sits there and said, oh yeah, we put trust in you and in your offer and in your letter about these people and in your pre-approval that these people are going to close, and now you're calling me up 3 weeks into this saying that they can't perform. And you want their deposit back because they didn't remove their loan contingency. I've had individuals come in and say, well, I just found out we're not going to close this deal. What do I do? I say, well, was the buyer know? Yeah, the buyer's aware. Well, listen, well, I don't want them to know because they're canceled out. Okay? That's the right thing to do. That's the right. And your clients might say, well, no, I don't want them to. And that's the thing is, your client says, no, I don't want them to know. I don't want the seller to know. They need to know. Be transparent. And that's the thing, is it's difficult to make some of those tough calls of like, well, I'm looking out for my client's best interest. If they cancel this transaction, is it really in their best interest? And then you start justifying in your mind reasons not to have that. Let me give it just another week. Let me just see if we can get an extension. Let's see, and not disclosing that lender has emphatically said, we cannot close this deal. And you are putting the seller in a position. And we've had that, and to be honest, that's happened where we've had sellers call up saying, my sellers are packed up, ready to go, move back east to North Carolina, and we just got a call that you can't perform, and they've known about it for a week. And it puts me in a position of going like, well, let me. What was that? My mom's calling. I gotta go. It puts us in a brokerage. It puts us as a brokerage in a tough position, because what happens when someone says, "Oh, I worked with that Coldwell banker and they screwed me over." If you look at each one of your guys' cards, each one of you have a Coldwell banker logo on there. You have the same logo on your card as I do on mine, and that means a lot when you're out there representing us in our brokerage, to make sure and be transparent, but to put your clients first instead of putting your own needs first. Okay, so I want to also, we're kind of running a little bit low on time, so you guys can read yourself. There's a lot of skills on there that I listed on your guys' behavioral qualities on your sheet. Just look at those qualities, look at them, and try and figure out, is that me? Does that match my personality? Does that match who I am as a real estate agent? And one of the things that's difficult is, I'll be honest with you, out there in the world, there's a lot of individuals that do slimy things, that burn bridges, that are horrible people to work with, but are successful at real estate. Okay? And we can't sit there and say, well, they're successful in real estate because they do a lot of marketing, because they do a lot of this, because they do a lot of that. You need to sit there and say, I'm going to be successful in real estate because I'm going to have referrals. Every one of my clients is going to be a raving fan. Everybody I've ever worked with is going to refer me. And that should be your goal. Every transaction you open, every person you show a house to say, I'm going to represent this client to the best of my ability, so they trust me enough to refer their friends and family and colleagues to me. Okay? So keep these notes. If you'd like, I can send you over this article. Like I said, it was a couple years ago, but I think it's still relevant and to us today. But like I said, just look at where we're at in the industry and realize we've come a long way since the Great Recession to recover some ground, but we need to continue to do that. All right? So cool. All right, so thanks. So I forgot to do on-time attendance. So, well,